Hey everybody, it's Adia and I'm back again with a new video. Okay. So basically, I'm going to be talking about everything I f***ing hate about art school. Oh, I despise. Now, before starting this video, right? For the most part, I actually do like art school, minus its little quirks and how expensive it is. But for the most part, I think art school is good. I don't go to like a traditional art school, I guess. Like I go to a college that has a bunch of other majors too, and also not to. This video is not to like nick people who don't go to art school or whatever. It's just some of my personal experience, stuff that I hate. Well, hate's a strong word. Dislike about art school. Okay, let me see. I have my notes so I can stay on track. Okay, babes. So the first thing I hate about art school, everything is so expensive. Don't even get me started with like tuition, my freaking dorm. Yeah. But by the way, guys, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't have came back for a second year to be in debt. Well, I have scholarships, but like you know I'm coming at. So basically, my first year, right? I like for each art class I had, I think I spent probably around like 150. So I had like foundation drawing that class. It actually had like a set that you go get at Blick. I'm sick and tired of seeing Blick. Sick. Like, why can't I just go to Michael's? Michael's has been my day one, and everyone's just like, go to Blick, go to Blick, go to Blick. Like, no, I don't want to go to Blick. So my first year, yeah, my foundation drawing class, we had like a set, and I think it was like $170 something like that. And then we had to buy more stuff throughout the semester. Some people did, some people didn't. That professor was really cool. And he did have brand loyalty, like.
It's the best day ever.
Okay, and I was in this 3D class. I'm not gonna lie, I did not mess with that class at all. Like I did not mess with that class. But basically every project I had to spend money on stuff that I'm probably never going to use again. Well, actually no. I think there wasn't a set, so I had to buy everything individually, I think. And then every time there was a project, I had to spend money, which was so irritating. It's like stuff that I'm literally never going to use after this class is done. Now I'm in my second year and I have a painting class. I thought it was going to be acrylic. No, I was sorely mistaken. It was oil and I have no oil paint. So luckily my friend came in clutch and gave me some of the supply so I didn't have to spend as much as everybody else. But the money I did spend, I think it was like $300 because he asked for like 20 colors. Like if she didn't come in clutch, I probably would have spent $500 or $600 on one class. And let's not talk about my generals, because my generals I have to spend money there too to buy books, which I never buy actually. Literally, if you're not taking down a class, I'm not gonna buy it. Period. But oh my! And then every time I walk into that class, oh, like I was spending more money. Like I had to buy like a still life and like a plate and a cloth and like. I'm sick and tired, sick of going to the store. And then okay, so the good thing about my oil painting class, he doesn't have brand loyalty, but he definitely didn't want us to be cheap about it. He's like, guys, if you really care about what you do, you're going to spend money. Oh. So I did just that. I didn't buy the most expensive brand. I bought like the brand in the middle. Basically all the colors that didn't say hue, because he's like hue is okay, but pure is better. So I didn't buy any hues because I don't want him to come for me. By the way, he's probably one of the best professors I've ever had, even though like I'm always spending money in his class. I also have him for my I'm in like a drawing 2 class. I have him for my professor too, and that class, honestly, I didn't have to spend that much. Besides, I had to buy colored pencils because I didn't have colored pencils. I don't really use colored pencils, but because all the stuff I had in my foundation drawing class, I already had, so I didn't have to spend that much in that class. But yeah, let me tell you guys, you go to art school, you're going to be spending a bag, especially if you're taking like really, really, really expensive classes like oil painting. Ceramics is well, I don't think ceramics is that expensive because the class fee is like 75, which is way better than spending $300 or $400 on paint. And I think it sucks because I literally had a friend. She had to take like a oil painting class or something like that for her degree. She spent $500 and never touched this stuff again. And she didn't even like oil painting. Like the professor she had, like, made her dislike oil painting, which is why she gave it all to me. And her professor had brand loyalty, which is like another ick for me. Like, oh, you have brand loyalty and you want the most expensive thing to get, but you know I'm a broke college student. You expect me to get that? Like, I'm sorry, not everybody has mommy and daddy's money.
You cannot be for real.
And the next thing I cannot stand about art school is having to take classes that you don't want to take. Like, I also, well, let me not get off topic, but I cannot stand, like, literally I took a 2-year gap year. You think I don't know what I want to do? Like, I don't know, there's just like, for example, I have to take a contemporary art class, which I don't want to take. I don't want to take it. Like, what do I need to take that for? I'm not going to go into that contemporary art class and be like, yay, I love contemporary art. Like, I already know I don't like contemporary art. That's how I felt about expanded art. And expanded art is kind of like if contemporary and performing arts expanded. I don't know. It's not really like a term. It's just expanded beyond the boundaries. Everything has deep meaning, and no. I'm not the person that's going to tape a banana on the wall. I'm sorry. No shade. But this clock, guys. Anyway, so that's like another pet peeve, like required to take classes that you want to take. Like, for example, like one of my friends, I don't actually mind 3D classes. I didn't like the 3D class I took because I didn't really care for how the professor's teaching was. Like, how are you going to... I can't stand a person that actually grades art based on if they like it or not. Ugh. Oh my gosh, it's such an ick. It's just, like, it's subjective, so it's, like, really, really, really irritating. And then write all this stuff about what I did wrong, and I'm just like, what? It's literally there. If you didn't like it, just say that. Just say that if you didn't like it. But... literally, so I told my friend, I was like, yeah, girl, we got to take more 3D classes. And she's like, she does not mess with 3D classes. She's like, all I want to do is paint. I just want to paint. But like me, I don't really mind. Like, I'll take ceramics, I'll take sculpting, I'll even take wood. Like, those all seem interesting to me. But like, I think it sucks to have to take a 3D class and then spend a bag and then with stuff you're never going to use again. That's what happened with my brother. He's an animation major and like literally took all these like fine art classes and just gave me his stuff because he literally doesn't use it. Like, he draws on his computer. So I'm just like, thanks for the free stuff. Thanks. Thing I cannot stand. So since this is not like a traditional art college or whatever, and I'm with other majors, every time someone asks me what my major is, I'm like, oh yeah, my major is painting and drawing, and they're just like, you want to live in a box. And it really be business studies too. It really be, yeah, it's like, well, you're gonna be living in a box too.
A lot of people work really, really hard for their dreams, but it's not meant for everybody.
That's why
Little do you know, the real world is harsh. So, and oh my gosh, it makes me so upset. It's just like, you do know, like, all the art that you see outside, all the stuff that you indulge in when you're gonna be working that boring job is from artists. So, shut the hell up. Honestly, shut up. because I'm sick and tired of you guys. Even when like I'm like at my job, like I work like corporate job or whatever, and they're just like, oh yeah, what's your major? And I tell them painting and drawing, and they do the same thing. They're like, oh, that's cool. Actually, the only really positive people that I get is really it's either other art students or software engineers. It's like really weird. Like this, yeah, like literally software engineers are like, really, like I can't even draw, like, and I'm just like, wow, you guys are so much nicer than like other people about my major. And I think people think like, oh, it's just like la-di-da, like this is just so easy. And I'm just like, I can't stand that people don't take the art seriously. Watch when I'm making a bag and you're not. Watch when you're miserable and I'm not. So, I can't stand it. Another thing I can't stand, brand loyalty. Like, okay, I understand if you have brand loyalty and you're like suggesting to your students like, oh, this is what I would suggest. But like having to have to get a brand is actually the most irritating thing I've ever had to freaking experience. So like, for example, in my oh yeah, I took pictorial. In my pictorial class, he actually made me so angry because like we had to buy acrylic paint, right? I already have acrylic paint, so like, can I just use the stuff I have? And so like he was like, oh, I want you guys to get this brand, right? And I was like, oh, okay, like it's like a student grade brand, something like that. And I was like, actually, let me show y'all. So he wanted us to, oh my gosh, I almost knocked on my camera. He wanted us to get this. This is the brand that he wanted us to get. I have golden paint, which is, I think it's better than this paint. And so I was like, oh, like, can I just use my golden paint? And he's like, I mean, you can, but it'll be your grade. Like, what is that supposed to mean? Like, oh my gosh, that comment just made me so mad. I was like, if you could have just said no. Like he's like low-key kind of like non-confrontational, but at the same time I'm just like, did you just threaten me? Like my paint is better, and you just know when like someone doesn't paint, so they just like, it's like, what? So you want me to go out and buy this, but I can't use my golden paints, which is better, if not the same, if not better. So what? I did go out and buy some of them, not all of them, because like you weren't gonna notice the difference anyway. List. I can't stand an unhelpful professor. I cannot stand it. Most of the professors I had have been extremely like helpful and like really good at critiquing art and telling you how to fix it, but I cannot stand a professor that'll sit there and be like, oh no, oh, okay, how do I fix it? And they just kind of look at you and be like, yeah, you should change it. Okay, how? Like, what do you want me to change about it? And they're just like, yeah, the color. I'm just like, okay, like what's wrong with the color? Like, I don't know, it's just it's so irritating. So irritating. As you can tell, I only had like, there was only like one. Yeah, like one. We just did not, because one, I didn't like the way he graded. I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. And I remember I got like a bad grade on like one of my art projects, and like I guess it wasn't deep enough for him. And I'm like, what? And I have this thing, right? Like, I cannot stand where everything has to have sometimes I just want to make pretty art. Sometimes. And at least for my philosophy, I believe people can make their own meanings based off of the art that they see. So if I think, oh, my art means this to me, and I think it's okay for someone else to have a different take on my art. And like, he was just not messing with it. I'm just like, what? Like, he's like, no, but like, what? Why did you create it? What is this and that? And like, And then I remember once I was like doing something, I was doing a project, and I was like, oh, okay, this is what this means to me, da da da. And he's like, oh, I see this. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's your opinion. He's like, I don't see what you're seeing. And I'm like, well, that's how you're taking in the art. So obviously you've formed a different opinion, or you feel something different with what I created. Doesn't mean that it's any less from what I think it means. Well, not I think, what I created it to mean. So he's like, well, but I'm just not getting that. Okay, you know what, you're right. And another thing I also hate, and with having like unhelpful professors, usually those ones you have to like make art cater to them, which is, oh, it's the most agonizing thing ever. It's the most agonizing thing ever. One thing I cannot stand like making art that I don't like. And like literally making art to please a professor, because literally my grade matters, and if my GPA hits a certain point, I might lose my scholarship. So I have to sit there and make art that I don't like, that my professor likes. Like, it's just like, oh my gosh, I cannot stand it. Like, I understand having like having like projects like, oh, still life, this, that. I just think it like sucks when like, say, I don't know, when you have to like make art that just like, it just is not you, like sitting there and having to make contemporary art. Like, I don't want to do that. I really don't. Like, literally, I just did it to pass the class, and I didn't even post art because I didn't like it. Like, my friends liked it, and I'm just like, I don't like it. This is not me. This is not who I am. And I feel like art is literally like, it should be the freest form of expression, and literally having to like kind of cater to what you like is crazy to me. Crazy. I also like, I don't know, just how some professors grade art is like, what is good art? Like, what, like, it's subjective. Like, what is good art? I feel like sure, you can go based off technique, but other than that, it's like, what is creativity? Like, you might look at this and be like, oh, this is not creative. But someone else might look at it and be like, wow, this is so creative. So I'm just like, what do you mean I wasn't creative enough? Like, I wasn't out of the box. Like, if the only thing I do is still life, and then I make something that's surrealism, that's pretty out of the box for me. So it's like, like, literally, if someone does stylized work and then they do, like, a realistic apple, that might be out of the box for them. So I'm just like, I don't know, if you're literally, and this is why I like the professor I have now. Literally, he just grades on if you did it or not. Obviously, there's, like, technical things, right? Like, there's a right and wrong way to gesso a board. Sorry, guys. There's also a right and wrong way to oil paint. If you do not follow the rules in oil painting, your painting will crack, and it will show. So it will show that you didn't follow the rules. But I just feel like I don't know, it's just like some things, it's just like, why I don't get it. Like, if I don't create some type of contemporary art, or say I am, I don't know, say like the professor only likes realism and someone has more of a stylistic like style, it's just like, damn, they're gonna have a hard time if everything that they make is quote unquote terrible because it's not realistic enough. And it's just like, well, if you were a better professor, maybe you could help them make it more realistic. Anyway, yeah, I think that might be all of my points. Professors, I don't mind a mean professor, to be honest, for art that's like brutally honest. I don't mind it. If you can be brutally honest and tell me how to correct it, I'm gonna become an awesome artist after your class. I cannot stand a professor that's super like, and this is what one of my friends had. I can't not have her as a professor, because what do you mean? Talking about, oh yeah, this looks wonderful. Girl, why are you lying? Like, she'd be like, oh, did you want to do that? And like, literally based off whatever your response is, she'd be like, oh, okay, that, as long as you're creating what, like, I feel like if there's like something that's looking off and you can help your student make it look better, I feel like you should like state your opinion. But I also feel like sometimes our school is kind of a little bit too cutthroat. And like, I've heard some people like like, oh, this professor made me cry, and I'm like, really? I really like this professor. But maybe it's because I kind of like bluntness, like, don't beat around the bush. Like, literally, one of my professors like literally drew on my canvas because my plate was looking crazy, but my plate looks so much better now. So I was like, oh, damn, you could have told me that. Like, but yeah, I think it's extremely helpful. I think there's a right and wrong way to do it, to be honest. But also, I like having like an open-minded professor that's also a good like critic. Because even though the professor I have now is super blunt, he's also super open-minded. I mean, he wasn't so much about the social media. He's like, guys, maybe you should film. I'm like, what? Look at you warming up. Look at you warming up. But yeah, he's like, he doesn't necessarily have like, he gives us, this is the project, but like, he cannot stand when like you actually just do what he asked you to do, and he's just like, oh my gosh, you're like restricting yourself. Like, it really drives him insane. He's like, guys, like, if you ever want to do a master's, nobody cares if you have an A, because you're gonna have multiple mentors or whatever, and you can't just make art to please your professor, period, go off. Because like, literally at that point, you're gonna have to have your own backbone, make your own art, and be able to vouch for it, fight for it, fight for your art. So yeah, I think this is the end of my video, unless I can think of more stuff that I don't like, but I'm about to head to class right now. So anyway, thank you for watching, and see y'all later. Bye.